This is the Sume here, and this video is to show you how to install an invisible sub in a Maserati Ghibli. First off, so we're just gonna walk around the back of the car, then I'll show you the sub, and then I'll just talk to you about how I was able to install it. Does it sound good, and do I recommend you purchasing that? Let's do this. This is the back of my Maserati. Before, I used to have a huge big buck sub in the back of the car, but so ever since I discovered this spare tire subwoofer, it made the back of my car a lot bigger because I don't have that huge bulky sub sitting in the back. Instead, I was able to compromise a few things in order for me to make that happen. I used to have a factory subwoofer there, which was a 9-inch paper thin subwoofer. That one, whenever I'm playing music, you weren't able to hear any bass whatsoever. So what I did, I went in and take off this factory subwoofer out of there and leave that vent open. So basically it's a huge hole that's open to the mesh grill up there that's sitting in the back of the car. A lot of people have amp preferences, but me, I was able to get this amp. It's a 4,000 watt amps. It's a Rockville, as you can see here. It's been working fine for me, and I have been loving it for at least close to a year now, so I never really had any issues. A Rockville subwoofer. So this right here is an 8-inch Rockville spare tire subwoofer. So as you can see here, I take out the little foam packaging that comes inside of the car where this piece was sitting inside of it, including the jack stands and all that stuff. Since I take them out, and I was able to fit this inside of it, but the only problem is that because the rod that they sent, it was a little bit too short, I had to go to a Home Depot and buy these extension over here. So I used the same thing in the bottom and same thing on top, and then I was able to use that same rod. But without buying a piece like this from Home Depot, there's no way you're gonna be able to fit this sub in there. This is the cable for the remote, and this is the power cable. So right now I am using the 2 RCA low level input in there. When I initially install it, I use a very small wire to send in the power to the subwoofer, but the problem is, like, as soon as I connected it, it starts to overheat really fast. You can't even touch it, to the point where it's gonna burn you. I did reach out to Rockville and talk to somebody there. They said you have to use the same gauge size wire that you use for your amplifier. Other than that, it's gonna cause a fire pretty much inside of it. So I went in and changed the cable and add these right here. So this is the positive side and the other one is the negative side, and I just run them all through here, as you can see. There we go. And I added a little piece of tape there just so I keep this piece from, I guess, pulling off and things like that. And the same thing for the negative. So I have the negative side for the subwoofer here, and then this one is for the amplifier. So this got an amplifier in it, and then I have another amplifier that runs the speakers inside of the car because I changed the factory speaker out of there. And the other thing is, and this here is the remote. If the remote doesn't turn on, this subwoofer will not work. So that's one of the things that you have to think about. So I didn't really change much of anything in there. So I keep the gain to the lowest hand, and I just add a little bit of bass boost, and I keep the LPF, which is the low pass filter, down to 50 hertz, which sounds really good. So 50 hertz is what you're really looking for in a Maserati, to be honest. There's no special settings on here besides just plugging this cable and then everything will turn on. So there's like 2 low light that comes on over here. So one, the red one, is for the protection. So if this one is turned on, it's mean there's too much volume going inside of this. And then if this one, the green one, means there's actual powers in there, which is a good thing. This is the amplifier over here that runs all my speakers. So as you can see, I have a little bit of daisy chain going over here because I only have a 4-channel output coming out of the radio in the car. So I had to find a way to wire the 5th channel, which is the one that powers the subwoofer that's sitting on there, the spare tires over there. So obviously once you have the 5th channel, you have to change this to channel 5. That way you can power everything. And this does comes with a remote as well to turn up and turn down the bass, but I didn't like having too many cables in the back of my car, so which means there's no need for me to do that, so I disconnected it. I got rid of that. So the other thing is just about the settings. So the setting is very simple. So as you can see here, so I had the subwoofer in the trunk at 50 Hz for the LPF, which is the low pass filter, but here I changed it up a little bit to maybe about 60 or 70. Then I have the subsonic all the way down to 15 Hertz pretty much, which is a good thing. And over here the volume on there, so I have it on low, which is the minimum. And then for the bass equalizer, then I put that on low as well. So I didn't really do too many changes there. So the other thing is this section here. So this part just talks about the sound processing for the front and the rear speaker. So Maserati has a center speaker, but most subwoofer places, they don't really set that up for you because they feel like it's not gonna change anything, but it does make a big difference. But the way what I did, which I'm gonna show you in a minute, that I wire the center speaker with the rear speaker because I want it to be like a mid woofer instead of regular high pass speaker sounds pretty much. The top section is for the front speakers, so as you can see it's on HPF, which is the high pass filter. So I set it up on low as well, and then I changed it from 15 Hertz to about halfway there, as you can see in the middle. So the top one is in the middle, and then I put it on HPF instead of full mode. And the bottom section here, this is the rear speaker setting. So that one I just turn up the volume just a little bit, just the fact that I wire a center speaker on there, so I want a little bit more boost or power going into it for it to power the center speaker as well. So the center speaker, they're like a 4 ohm Harman and Kardon. And then for the HPF section, so I just turned down to 15 Hertz, which is the low end, this little clip here, all the way down to the LPF, which is the low pass filter pretty much. So that's it over here for the amplifier. So this is all I've done in there. And then let's go ahead and show you the wiring process as far as how things looks like when I wired it. I'll show you which wire goes where pretty much. The amp turn-on is basically coming from the cigarette lighter that's sitting in the back of the car here, in the corner over there. So this is where the amp turn on is coming from, which is a 12-volt signal. So the minute you turn on the ignition, it sends power to this, then it turns on the amplifier. And obviously this little daisy chain that you see here, so this is the amp turn on cable that goes to the spare tire amplifier subwoofer that's in the trunk here. And then these are the wiring. So this is my front right, front left, and then here, as you can see here, this is my rear. So what I did, I create a crossover for the rear. So I kind of like take a signal from the left side and the right side of the rear speaker to create my center channel, which sounds like, by the way, so good you won't even know it. And then the last one, which is here, this is my 5th channel output, which is in fact my subwoofer cable that goes all the way in the trunk to the spare tire subwoofer. As you can see, this is the equalizer, so I'm going to click on that. All right, so this is pretty much the settings right now. As you can see, it's on right now. So I have the 3D. I just add just a little bit more on there. It's not really too much if you think about it. So just 3 bars on that. All right, so let's start on the band settings and stuff like that. So for the 60 hertz, I have it at 68. For the 100 hertz, I have it at 60. For the 240 hertz, I have it at 52. For the 500 hertz, I have it at 34. For the 1K, I have it at 26. So which is the 26%. So for the 1.8K, I have it at 34. For the 3.4K, I have it at 23. For the 5.7, I have it at 35. For the 9K, I have it at 61. And the last one, which is a 13K, I have it at 79. So the volume is all the way up. I didn't have any post-processing bass, so I keep that on 0 pretty much. Now we're gonna listen to it with the amplifier on and the what you call it, and this thing off. So right now it's on. Okay, so I don't have to say too much. You can actually see the difference. All right, so the next thing, we're gonna talk about the sound outside, because a lot of people, if they listen to music, the car is not vibrating, they don't feel like they listen to music. But the way that I set this thing up, so it's basically you can only hear the bass inside of the car. So once you step outside of the car, you're not supposed to be hearing like a boom 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 like you in a ghetto or any other place. So that's the big difference. So it takes a lot of processing in order for you to be able to set things up like this. So for Maserati drivers, so I think your sound switch sounds really good and simple and clean, and you can still have the max bass that you want without having to disturb the driver that's on the road next to you. So let's go ahead and go outside of the car without the music on. Then I'm gonna come back and unmute this to show you it with the music on. All right guys, so right now I'm standing around roughly about 15 feet from the car. So as you can see, the music is not playing right now, it's just the car running, as you can see. So there's really nothing going on here besides me, so, and a few birds. So I'm gonna go inside of the car and unmute it, and then come back and stand in the same location. So as you can see, I'm sitting on this standing on the curve side here from the curve, and the car is right there. So let's go ahead and turn this on. It's gonna be at the same volume. Then I'm coming back and then increase the volume to like 25 or 26% to see. So right now we inside of the car. Unmute the music. So volume is at 30. So this is inside of the car. All right, so I am back in the same location where I was. You cannot hear the music outside of the car whatsoever. So this is how it's supposed to be in a Maserati. If I step inside of the car, it's gonna be nice and loud. You should not hear the music outside of the car to where it's disturbing other people that's driving around you. So this is the most important thing when it's come to tuning and making sure that you have the best sound in the car. So this is it guys. So this was just a video. I just wanted to take my time and show you what I have been doing, and I do have some other products that I have been working on. They're gonna come out pretty soon as well. So I just hope that you enjoy this video and how I set up my amplifier, the way I wire things, so that way if you ever need to do the same thing, then you can do it without any issue. It really doesn't take too much for you to do that. It's just a little bit of skills and time, really. That's all it takes. So thank you very much for watching, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up so other people that has Maserati can start using the same process to make their car sounds good. So thank you again, guys, and I'll see you in my next video.